back to the Robaer Report. It's been a couple of days, couple of weeks since I talked to this audience, this illustrious audience, but I'm so happy to be back with you all. And today we are talking about Montgomery College and their child development program. I myself am a product of Montgomery College. I keep calling it Montgomery County Community College because everybody just calls it Montgomery County. So I keep adding in that part about Montgomery County Community College, but it's really Montgomery College. They have multiple locations here in the county of Montgomery County, Maryland. And I had an excellent time taking part in some of their programs. But first things first, do a little housekeeping. I want to welcome you all to the Robaer Report as a part of Black USA News. We are broadcasting live here on YouTube and Facebook on Black USA News. We're also hosting live on the Dunn & Glover channel on Facebook, as well as the newly created the Robaer Report here on YouTube. So with that being said, today is August 15th, 2022, and you're here at 8 o'clock, of course, here with Robaer, the host of the Robaer Report. Thank you for your time. So I'm back here talking about the early childhood education programs at Montgomery College. Personally, I live in Montgomery County, Maryland, and the school that I attended, which was virtual actually last year because it was during the second year of the pandemic, 2021, and I decided to take some courses as I was offered a couple of $1,000s by a fatherhood initiative that is located, headquartered in Montgomery County. It's a National Fatherhood Initiative, NFI. I had an excellent time taking part in some manhood training, not manhood training, that's another organization, fatherhood training. And upon completion of a 3-week online program, they awarded us, I think I was awarded a little bit more, but they awarded us $2,500, I believe, in total. So if anybody's interested in learning more about the National Fatherhood Initiative, and you're watching this broadcast either today or you're watching it sometime in the future, reach out to me and I can definitely connect you with the program coordinators. As part of that program, I became a National Fatherhood Initiative. Well, it's not a coach. I was about to say coach. Sorry about that. If you are listening to it, I did not mean to say coach. But I became an integral part of the community, and where I was given privilege to go out and talk to fathers, and they would host seminars, and I would get on and talk to fathers, as I am a father of a 3-year-old daughter. Shout out to Olivia. Don't get enough of saying your name. And so during these, I decided to use these funds to take courses at Montgomery College. And I took a bevy of courses. A lot of them centered on early childhood education programs. And in these courses, maybe I'm looking to my left right now because I have some of my certificates. See, Robaer Washington, I could have forged this, but I got the MC at the top, so I don't think I forged it too much. But during these courses, I believe, yes, in every course, it had to be about 7 or 8. I was actually the only male. I was the only Black male, and I could have been any type of male in these courses. Some of the students would look up and say, "There's a guy here." Some of the teachers would look up, although they weren't saying it out of anything preferential towards females. It was just something different that they had seen. A guy taking a course in early childhood education, and after taking this course, I found out that in that field, particularly during the height of the pandemic. Uh, and for those, shout out to those who have recovered from the effects of the pandemic physically in this particular instance, and for those who have succumbed to the virus due to however it took some people's lives. Just to be frank about it, want to send my condolences to those families. I have had family members to catch the virus. One or so has passed away, and I think about that often as we're in this world. So, just want to discuss that real quick. But at Montgomery College, I'll just show this. This is one of the certificates that I was able to accomplish. I believe this was like a 1-day course using books to support pre-literacy skills and language development. Was in this course. It was about 3 hours long. This one was, I believe, was actually over Zoom. They sent us a couple of books, about 3 or 4 books in the mail after completing this course, as we were certified to talk about using books to support pre-literacy skills. I always knew that was important. My family members would read to me as a kid, spurred me along so much that at about the age of 8 or 9, I was I'm from Mississippi, of course. For those who didn't know, I was walking to the library, coming back home, and with 15, 20 books, dragging them down the street in my hand, dropping books. And I had me a library card. I was so excited that I had a library card and I could actually do stuff. And I learned at a very early age to read. So there was no limit to the amount of books that I can get from the library. And even to this day, when I go to the library, I'm lost. I'm lost in my own thoughts, and that I can get as many books as I won't say as many books as I like, but they allow you to pick up a certain amount of books as deemed appropriate by the library authorities. 15, 20 books. That's a pretty good number of books to be walking down the street with as a child. But I enjoyed myself and reading, getting lost in my thoughts as a child. And that spurred me along as an adult. As I'm looking to the side, so I'm not paying attention to my audience, I'm looking at these certificates. So I definitely enjoyed going to the library as a child, and I thought that class was important because it is vital to read to your children. And if you have a structured program, structured paradigm behind you that can show you how to read to your children and what age and stages of learning and growth and development where they are, where their minds can expand and grow to be the best that their minds can be over the course of time. That's an awesome class. So thank you to Montgomery College. Another one is health and safety training. In this course, we were taught that was medication administration. Health and safety training, we were taught how to keep our child healthy. We were taught to be prepared when with safety initiatives. One of those, I believe, in this course was CPR first aid training. I myself have received my CPR first aid training certificate. Shout out to Coach Daryl Fogan, who's been my good friend since I was 18 years old. Newly introduced to adulthood here in Washington, D.C. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area now, but when I first got to Washington, D.C., he was actually one of my first professors at Howard University in a swimming class. Who knew that one of my great mentors would come out of a swimming class? But it actually, I knew how to swim before I met him, and he taught me how to swim even more. But that's another conversation. He taught me CPR first aid. And so during the health and safety training, they touched on that a lot. Keeping your child safe when there's an issue going on with their health. One is if their child is choking, there's no breathing. You need to be able to kick that skill into gear as quickly as possible. Another course is medication administration training. Montgomery College at the top. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a teacher of early childhood education, yet I have some of the great credentials to begin that process. I just hadn't undertaken that task just yet. It's not a very hard task. It's not too long of a task, but I just hadn't undertaken it. Uh, and I think about it sometimes as I'm driving around Maryland, Washington D.C., Northern Virginia, as I'm just perusing the area, going taking care of tasks, and I see these child development schools, um, and I come to find out that a lot of them are understaffed right now, and the pandemic uh, was very had real dire effects on some of these programs, these schools, and parents weren't allowing their children to go because of obvious reasons. Um, but a lot of them survived. But then there became the issue of staffing, and staffing became an issue because of funds to pay these people, these staff members. And while it is said that the price of early childhood education or taking your child to daycare or one of these child care centers, the price of attendance for your child has increased, this doesn't necessarily relate to an increase in the pay for the staff or the teachers who are actually training these students. So there's a lot of schools that do not have qualified teachers to or qualified staff to be working in these schools, and particularly they don't have enough money to pay the staff, which is kind of a sad situation because we're in the United States of America. One of the conversations is that teachers should be paid more. I'm 37 years old, and I've heard this conversation my entire life. Yet teachers barely get paid more as they quote unquote should in this society, and particularly with early childhood education. So, if you're in early childhood education, shout out to you for taking over the reins and taking care of our children in these child development centers across the DMV in particular, but across the nation. Um, Another one is emergency preparedness training. This one was fun because we were able to develop an emergency preparedness program for our children, and it's really for schools or early childhood education centers to have on deck if something is to take place in their program, so that parents, school officials, children, and the teachers in the classroom will know what measures or what protocols to put in place if there's an issue that requires that emergency evacuation take place. And so we had a written plan and everything. And it was a powerful course to take. I believe that course was 2 days, but it was a powerful course, and I really respect the professor in that program because she did put a lot of thought and energy into making sure that we understood how important it was. Which you would think that most of us already know, but it's good to just have in this society, have a certificate behind you, have some documentation to show when if there's an issue, say, hey, this was my plan. And so the appropriate authorities will have access to some documents that you weren't just operating by your seat of your pants when it came to emergency preparedness with these children. The next one is multiculturalism in ECE, or early childhood education settings. Multiculturalism in early childhood education settings. This was important because I live in a county where there's a large Latino population, a large African diaspora population, a large white population, a large Black African American population, and there's a milieu in these schools, a mixture of students that are in these classes speaking various languages, come from different backgrounds, different food that they eat at home, different dialects, different skin tones, different hair textures, different religious statuses, different belief systems. And our professors wanted us to understand that in these environments that these children are coming from, they're all settling into an environment in the schools where it is best that the teachers are familiar with what's taking place in, on a broad level in the homes, so that they can teach, be more prepared to teach the youth in these courses, in their schools, so that nobody will feel, so that no one can say that my child was left out or my child didn't get appropriate training in your specific class, to said teacher, to whatever teacher that is. Another one that I have is building partnerships with families. Great course. In building partnerships with families, the professor, she wanted us to understand that it does, and this is a cliche, but it takes a village to raise a child. And so the teacher and the school administration needed to be understanding of familiar needs with regard to the child. And it also held the family parents responsible to understanding of the needs of the teachers and the school administrators in which they're sending their children to those schools. And so we got a chance to understand some practices, some exercises from our perspective, mainly as teachers. And I'm not a teacher, but we were learning from the teacher's perspective. But as a parent, I was looking at it from both sides. All right, how do I look at it from a teacher looking towards a parent? How do I look at it from a parent's perspective looking at the teacher? And this was a pretty good exercise in this course, because it taught us that it's going to take there's a term called panacea, looking at the whole child. Panacea I learned this term, social panacea, in another school that I used to work with years ago. But we're looking at the whole child development, and needing the family, their community, and the schools to raise up the child. So that was important for that course. One of the last certificates I can find, because I believe I got more certificates around here, but I can only find these few. Communication skills for child care professionals. And this was important because, as I mentioned earlier, that there are multiple people come from different backgrounds specifically in the county where I live. A lot of Central America, a lot of let us say Latin American diaspora, a lot of African diaspora, people who in this county, a lot of whites and blacks who are natives to America, and they converge on this classroom. And the kids, they need to understand what's going on. 1 second. And the kids need to understand what's going on. And so if the children are to learn what's going on, they need to be communicated to appropriately. So the child care administrator or the child care professional needs to know how to communicate with these children, needs to know how to communicate with the parent. So that was one of the highlights of that course, was just teaching parents, they are parents, a lot of them are parents, but teaching my classmates in those instances how to talk to the children and their parents with regard to educating that child. I have just gone over right now, about 7 of the certificates that I hold from that program. And right now, I want to share my screen and show you the early childhood education program at Montgomery College. So here we're on this site. Let me see, is it up yet? Oh, let me see. I think this is it right here. Oh, no, we're not. We're not sharing just yet. Here we go. It's gonna come up. Oh, here we go. Add the stream. Early childhood education programs. Let me see. Do I want to make it full screen? Oh yeah, I'll keep myself in here. All right. So, early childhood education programs. Further your career with an early childhood certificate or degree. So here they actually have certificates and degrees, and with appropriate training, they have multiple tracks. You can achieve your child development associate, your CDA requirement. And one of the things that I found out about this CDA certificate is that you can actually open up your own, and this is a national credential, 120 clock hours. You can open up your own child development program. And I thought that was pretty spectacular that with just a few hours, a person could go from, some people have these daycares in their home and they're not licensed or certified. And that can become a major issue if litigation needs to take place because they didn't have a certification. They're just somebody who's taking care of somebody's child. And if an incident happens, I have a friend where an incident happened like that, but I believe the organization was certified, but there's still an incident took place. And if it wasn't for their license, even though the situation was dire, if it wasn't for their license, that would be another strike that would be on the organization or on the early childhood education program. But since they have their license, which they, I assume, they have their child development associate credential, they're okay from that perspective. They have non-credit programs, as we see right here, through the Workforce Development and Continuing Education Division. That's where I was able to pick up my courses. They were non-credit programs. You can also achieve associate degree in early childhood education. So some people may want to go into a teaching track, but they may need to. They may feel, or there may be a requirement that they go to go through an associate's program. Well, Montgomery College offers that associate's program for people who are interested in early childhood education. And then there's the early childhood education certificate, 1-year certificate. Very vital. Again, I mean, it's a little bit less strenuous it's more strenuous than the non-credit programs right here, but it's less strenuous than the associate's degree in early childhood education. The coordinator for this program is Dr. Sonia, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Pruneda Hernandez. If anybody needs to reach out to Dr. Pruneda Hernandez, her number is 240-762-0154. Now, Dr. Sonia Pruneda Hernandez and I have not talked. I don't know if I remember this person. I remember a couple of other teachers, but not this one in particular. But I want to give her information out just in case anyone watching this program, this broadcast of the Robaer Report, and they are interested in learning more about early childhood education programs in the state of Maryland. Right now, school is about to start. I'm sure that Montgomery College is still accepting students. I received an email a few days ago about this program. So I'm sure that they are still accepting applicants, possibly by way of scholarship as well. So that with the goal being, which I love this picture in the background, with the goal being that you, as a teacher, as a practitioner of early childhood education, you're able to hold the attention of the youth just like this, so that they can learn, grow, and prosper, and be assets to our community here in Montgomery County and to the global world. Once again, that will end the broadcast for today. My name is Robaer. This is the Robaer Report. I am the host of the show today. Let me stop sharing my screen. I am the host of the show today on August 15th. Please tune in next Monday, same time, 8 o'clock, on the Robaer Report YouTube channel, Black USA News YouTube channel, Donnie Glover YouTube channel, and Black USA News Facebook channel. Once again, have a good day. Signing off and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.